Hi friends, Happy New Year! I'm excited to share my first video of 2023 with you, and I'm going to create a card for you that features a stamp set that you can earn free from Saleabration during Stampin' Up's Saleabration promotion this month. So let's start stamping. For this card, I want to use the tree die from our Aspen tree die collection. This has been carried over from our mini catalog into our new 2023 mini catalog, and I want to put some adhesive sheets behind some white cardstock, and I'm just going to cut it down 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to do the same thing with my adhesive sheet. And I will save that because I can actually use that for tiny little die cuts or whatever I need it for. So I am going to peel off the backing. Let's see, it's on here somewhere. There we go. I'm just going to do a section at a time. So I'm just going to line it up. Peel off the second piece of backing, and then the last piece. Perfect. So now I'm bringing in my die cutting machine. I'm going to position my die. Let's try to move this up a bit so you can see. Actually, let's turn this around. Okay. Turn that up. Put my plate on, my nice new beautiful cutting plate. I always get so excited when I have a new cutting plate. And I'm gonna go back again the other direction. So I have my my die cut done. It's so beautiful, and of course I have the adhesive sheet behind it. So I'm just going to set this aside, and I will come back to that when I need it. Next, I'm going to add some shading to a piece of basic white cardstock. This measures the same, 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm bringing in my Parakeet Party ink pad and a blending brush, and I'm just going to load that up. I'm going to turn this on the side because I worked better that way. I'm going to add some green for the grass, and then I'll add some blue. Okay, so I'm just going to add my green. I'm going to add a couple greens actually, but I'm going to start with the lightest. Okay, using the same brush, I'm going to pick up some Old Olive. And I'm making sure not to go up past where I have that lighter green, just so I have that little hue of light green just slightly above it. It's not going to be super noticeable anyhow when the card's done. It's just going to have a nice, it's going to be a nice soft background behind that tree die cut. Now I'm bringing in my Balmy Blue, and I'm using a clean blending brush now. And I'm starting above that line of that Parakeet Party. You can see how nice and soft this is. I think I'm going to be crazy here and pull in a little bit of fresh freesia and see how that looks. You may notice, and if you've watched some of my previous videos, I always rub the ink off on the side just to make sure I don't have it too dark. And for some reason my cat Rocky tends to want to get in all my videos lately. And now I'm pulling in some Orchid Oasis. And you can see where I just tapped off some of that ink so that it's not too dark on my paper. I'm going to turn this way now. I think I'm going to add some blue into that. I do like the purple, but I want to add some blue. I like to create on the fly, as I'm sure many of you know or have figured out by now. If I'm going to stamp, I just think sometimes, well, why not just put the camera on so you guys can kind of see my process as I go along. So keeping it real, but it's always a surprise for me too at the end to see how my cards turn out. Okay, there we go. That looks good to me. Okay, so now I'm going to pull in my trees and take off the backing. And if you don't have our adhesive paper, of course, you can use little dabs of glue. And I'm just lining that up. Like so. So I had mentioned on my blog today that I have really been enjoying our mini machine here, die cutting and embossing machine. And for the longest time I didn't purchase one of these because I had the bigger one that I used earlier, but I love this and I use it as much as the big one because this one I keep handy on my desk all the time, whereas the bigger one I have off on the side. This is great when I want to do quick little die cuts or embossing, such as this die cut right here. And during Saleabration, part of our starter kit offering is purchasing either this white machine or you can get the mini in a new boho blue color, which is so pretty. So this is a great tool. So I'm just gonna position this on, and I'm just using my paper. I'm not using any adhesive sheets because I'm just gonna go ahead and use a Stampin' Dimensional to put this on, or liquid glue. Haven't quite decided yet. Okay, so I'm gonna set these aside and I'm bringing in a scrap piece of basic white cardstock. And I am bringing in our new Adorable Owls stamp set, which you can earn for free with qualifying orders during the Stampin' Up! Saleabration promotion. So this is free with a $60 Canadian order before tax and shipping. And I haven't even used this yet. So I need to put my labels on. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So if you are new to stamping, maybe this might be helpful for you. I'm going to show you how I put my labels on. So I just pop all of these out. When I first joined Stampin' Up, which was in 2002, I remember we had to cut all of our images out of the rubber. So we've come a long way over the years, I must say. Okay, so there's a slit up the middle of each image, so I'm just peeling that back, and then I take my stamp and I just line it up, press it down, and peel it off, and that label is on it. Okay, so I'm going to quickly do the rest. Now that I've got my stamps out and I'm looking at my images, I may change my mind here. I was kind of thinking about putting the branch on here and having this little guy sitting on the branch for a happy birthday, which would be super duper cute. But I think what I'm going to do instead is use this guy instead. So let me put my little owl friends and sentiments back in the case. And I'm going to ink up my image with Saddle Brown Stays On. And I'm bringing in my basic black marker, and I'm just going to go over on the eyes. Now I'm bringing in my Granny Apple Green marker and also using that on the eyes. And then this is my Sahara Sand ink pad. So I'm going to pick some up onto a clear block. And I'm going to use my water painter to pick some up. Make sure I don't have too much water. And I'm just going to fill in the lines. And this is why I used my Stays On brown, because I didn't want my ink to bleed. Now I'm just doing the same thing using my soft suede. And now my pumpkin pie, and because this is an old style ink pad, I can just pick it up right from the lid. And another reason why I like to use my water painters with my ink pads is my ink is not as dark as it would be if I used a marker directly to this. And I can also go back in and add as much ink as I wish. Here, looking pretty cute. Okay, so now that I've got my coloring done, I'm going to zap it with my heat tool to make sure it's dry before I cut it out. So I'm just adhering this to a Parakeet Party card base. And I've cut another piece of basic white. This measures 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm putting that on the inside. And then our little owl is going to be put on the card with a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals. Oh my goodness, does it get any cuter? I think not. I'm just bending him up a little bit just to give him some little extra dimension. And now I have a scrap piece of Night of Navy, and I'm going to use this for stamping my sentiment, and I'm going to emboss it in white. So I'm just tapping on my embossing buddy, and in this stamp set there's the sentiment My Friend, which is what I am using. Okay, so I've stamped my sentiment with the white craft ink pad. I've sprinkled on my white embossing powder, and I'm going to set that with my heat tool. Alright, so I'm just going to snip that out, and I want to use a new punch on this. So the punch I'm using is from our new mini catalog. It's called the Happy Labels Pick a Punch, and it's part of a bundle that you can get with this stamp set, which I did, and I love it, and I'm going to be using one of these stamps on the inside of my card. So this is the punch I'm using. So I'm just going to trim this down because that's a little bit wider than what I want. And you can see there's two different patterns. So this one's more scalloped, this is more like a little ticket punch. I want to use the scalloped end, so I'm just sliding this in. This is about 3/4 of an inch, I would say. So I'm just sliding it in. Now I've got my Orchid Oasis Baker's Twine, and I'm going to wrap that around this sentiment. So I'm just going to put a glue dot behind it to kind of hold it. And I apologize if my lighting isn't that great today, friends. I am filming later in the day than I ordinarily do, and it is getting dark outside. And now I'm going to put a dimensional behind there. And another one here. I'm just going to go ahead and put that right onto my card. I'm going to put it right about here. Okay. And now I'm just going to tie a knot. And because I love using embellishments, I'm going to pull out my iridescent basic pearls, and I'm just going to pick one up and put it on each side of that ribbon, which will pull out some white, but also just add a little bit of shimmer. From that stamp set that I showed you earlier, Happy Labels, I'm going to stamp You've Got the Biggest Heart inside my card. And I'm going to use Night of Navy because that's a bit of a predominant color on the front, and I want to pull that into the inside of the card. So I'm just inking it up. To finish my card, I'm pulling in my fine tip glue pen, and I'm going to place this on the center of the eyes to make them shiny and add some texture. So I'm just going to lightly squeeze this on, and then I will wait for this to dry. And I think I'm going to put some on the beak too. There is my completed card. I love how it turned out. Super sweet, and it's a great way you can incorporate this stamp set or other stamp sets using the sponge background and the aspen tree die. Lots of possibilities, and I hope you've got lots of inspiration with today's card demonstration. I actually ended up making 2 more of these cards since I had all my supplies out, so I wanted to show them to you because they turned out really cute. I haven't stamped anything on the inside yet, but I designed them the same with the sponging and the die cuts. But here's that branch I cut out earlier, and I just stuck on my little owl, and then another one here, and then Hoot Hoot, you're so cute. And then this one, I really love how this turned out. I added some flowers, and the flowers and dies are from the Love for You bundle. And this is the flower and the leaves that I used. And look at the inside of the flowers. What I used for the inside of those flowers are our new loose daisy embellishments, and these are so super fun. And all I did is, you're gonna see my hands are all got ink on them, but can you see there's that little bit of green for that little leaf on the tip? I just cut that. They're not hard plastic. They almost feel like a papery foam or something, but oh my gosh, these are one of my new favorite embellishments ever. So all I did is I just cut that little green bit off and then just glued them to the centers and added some butterflies. The supply list for today's cards can be found in the description listed down below, and if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button and the little bell next to it so you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Thanks friends, I appreciate you. Take care and happy stamping.